this will cooperate, it'd be great. I don't know if it is. Oh, whatever. Waiting for it to stop moving. Okay. I guess before we get going, I will give you the salute. All right? Salute. Rattling around. What's up, Sid? I'm just going to get comfy here. Just give me a sec. Waiting for all those super chats to come in and memberships so I can do this in a more professional setting. But right now, this is what you get. This thing does not want to fucking cooperate. That's pissing me off. Is that what it's in? That's the angle? Okay. Hey, Atlanta, how's it going? Yeah, I know the election in New York's about a week away. But I figured, what the hell? Maybe there's something to it, right? Maybe there's something to it, like eating like a friggin' savage. So I figured I'd give it a shot. Maybe there's something to it. I mean, everyone say, Boggs, but Boggs, you eat ribs with your hands, right? I'm like, true. Well, I'm more of a steak guy because I like the cutlery, the fork and the knife. I mean, ribs are messy. You got to have your paper towels with you. And but what I don't do after I eat ribs is take my digits and then stick it into a bowl full of coleslaw and shovel it in my mouth, right? So there's a right way and wrong way, but evidently in some parts of the world where you're eating grains and cereals, especially mushy grains and cereals, it's appropriate to eat with your digits. And I'm like, could all these tribal savages be wrong around the world? I'm like, I don't know, man. Maybe not. I mean, I'm more of a spoon guy myself, but maybe the hands adds an extra experience and maybe even a little bit of flavor to the action. So I figured, what the hell? I've got, I don't know if you can see this. The light might be too much. That is Greek yogurt with granola, peanut butter flavored. And I figured, the hell, I just eat it with my fingers and see how it is. Because I want to know what it's like to eat like a third worlder. So here we go. I don't know if that's the way we're supposed to eat yogurt, but that's the way we're doing it on the Bog Show tonight. We got a big, gloopy, I don't know, but this is how the future mayor of New York City eats his food. Big gloppy food. He just sticks his big ham hocks right here, like so. Right? Gets a big old handful of that and just sticks it right there. I don't know. Maybe there's something to it. I mean, it's less dishes to wash. You tell me. Now, eating like this would qualify me, I think, to be the mayor of New York City. Or at least, I don't know, Washington Courthouse in Ohio. What do you think? Or, even better, I'd say Toledo probably. Toledo, Or we can go even further north and go into Michigan and go the Flint, not Flint, but what's that? Dearborn. Dearborn, Michigan. I can eat like that. Yeah. You hit the call to prayer. Hey, make a honey ho, pretty Allah, and you're gonna eat your couscous or whatever the fuck right out of the bowl. I don't know. You tell me. Which way would you rather prefer? Would you rather use, what's more off-putting? The spoon, right? Oh. Or just jamming my hand in here and grabbing all that. How's that look? Oh, yeah, just all over the place. Hey, while I'm doing this, I could talk about, hey, let's talk about rent control. We're talking about rent control in New York City, and we're going to take the money from the white neighborhoods, right? We're going to take the money from the white neighborhoods, and we're going to give it to all the minority neighborhoods because they got it so bad. Especially with all the EBTs. I know somebody's going to clip that later, so it's yogurt. Yeah, just cowboy it up right there with your hands. You know, we'll just take all the money from the white neighborhoods in New York and we'll give it to all the poor neighborhoods where we chased all the jobs out like AOC did with Amazon. Even though they're about to lay off 30,000 people. Twitch ain't looking so good either. And I'm sorry if this is kind of grossing you out, but it's kind of grossing me out too. I mean, look at that. But this is how the mayor of New York is going to be eating. As he's putting an arrest warrant out for Benjamin Netanyahu when he visits the UN. Even though Netanyahu would have diplomatic immunity, but Mamdani's going to think that he's going to arrest Netanyahu, who's the head of the state. I like to see that go down. Oh, somebody said something bad. Hold on. I'm sorry, I don't speak Gurkha. English, please, or at least something that Google could translate that doesn't think it's Klingon. I mean, I'm just saying. But this is the guy who can't figure out a fork and a knife unless he's eating a burrito. True story. He'll eat with his fingers goopy shit like this, but he'll use a fork and a knife for a burrito. That is like the weirdest shit I've ever seen. That's not like since Kasich over in Ohio. He was at a fundraiser and he was eating a burger with a fork and knife. So I mean, whatever. But notice that Kasich didn't become president either. That's true. A lot of them. But apparently Amazon owns Twitch. And that's part of it. Look. Oh, well, I don't want to fuck up my glasses, but I got to get it all up. That's going to qualify me to run a Fortune 500 company in New York City because I can lick the ball. See? I can lick the ball. That means I can run a Fortune 500 company in New York City because that's all it takes to be culturally appropriate to eat your food like a fucking animal. You know, I think it's funny that deep in the hearts of the jungle, there are great apes. There are great apes, specifically an orangutan that I'm thinking about. And they can take a twig and ferret out grubs and termites out of a tree or a log, right? And they'll sit there and they'll eat the termites off that stick that they use to get them out with. And even that ape has more table manners than Zoran Mamdani. I want you to think about that. A friggin' orangutan that doesn't even wipe its own ass when it shits in the jungle can figure out how to use a tree branch to get grubs and not eat with his bare hands. Right? Because even the monkey knows that you should be using utensils. It probably even washes its hands before it does eat. Now I gotta wash this out later. Anyway, that was fun. Just amazes me that people are gonna vote for that fool. Out in the open communist, which is still technically against the law here in the United States. I did not know if you knew that. Did you know that? They passed that a long time ago. And you cannot be a communist politician. There's laws against it. But here comes Mamdani. Well, I'm not a communist. I'm a democratic socialist. I'm like, that's the same damn thing. That's the same thing. So yeah, there you go. That's how the future mayor of the financial capital of the planet is going to be eating his state dinners when he gets his sponsors, you know, when he's having his spaghetti dinners or pancake dinners. You know, they do that for the donations. He's going to have these people around, and he's just going to pick up that glob of spaghetti and just shovel it in his mouth, meatball and all. Won't be a pork meatball. No, it'll be beef. All right, his beef meatball, and he's gonna shove it in his mouth, and he's gonna have juices dripping everywhere. He may or may not have a bib, and he's going to be shaking these people down for money. It's pretty amazing, actually. I see the normal foreigners coming in the algorithm don't really like this subject a whole lot, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. I feel the way I feel, and it ain't gonna change my mind. You know, when a fucking monkey living in the jungle can figure out how to use proper utensils, and you can't, that should tell you something. That you're being out-evolved by an orangutan. Horrible, I know, but you know that's. I didn't do it, guys. I mean, I ate the yogurt, but but it's disgusting, is what it is. It's disgusting. I know I was grossed out doing it. You know, especially when I saw the link and I put it up in my community post for Walmart, because Walmart's going to need your money because EBT's done. So they're going to need your money. Walmart is going to need your money, and to buy your groceries with your hard-earned money and not the government's, you may want to pick up a set of utensils that's less than $20. It's less than $20, and then when you get your pot pie or I don't know, chimichangas or whatever the fuck, at least you'll have utensils to eat the thing with, and you won't have to gross out the people around the table around you. And can you imagine that? It's like a mukbang. and they would have it all sitting there on the table in front of them, right? Just a big pot of rice with bullshit sauces all around it, and everyone's sticking their hands in the same fucking tray or pot to grab their food, and they're eating it, right? So not only are they eating it, but once they're done with each hand, they're double dipping back into the communal tray to grab more food. I'm like, ew. It's like, and none of you washed your hands before you sat down to eat, because I've seen you at truck stops. It's disgusting. So, no. So you got all these, they're sitting in their hovel with a dirt floor. They got the table, right? I'm setting the scene. They're sitting across the table from their cousin wife and their 10 inbred kids, and none of them's washed all winter, and they're all grabbing from the same pot with their hands that food and shoveling it in their face. And I'm like, now I gotta ask you. And so somebody please answer this for me. It seems like it's the people from civilizations that have been around the longest that are having the problems with this stuff, right? Some of these civilizations go back 5,000 years. 5,000 years. And they haven't figured out indoor plumbing, clean water, not destroying their natural habitat or their waterways, dumping their filth everywhere, willy-nilly, and not defecating or urinating in the streets. And yet, these civilizations have been around for 5,000 years. Why? They should have taken over the world 5 times over, apiece. But they can't figure out to stop shitting in their rivers or on the streets, or dumping all the chemicals in their rivers, or their trash just outside their window. It's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Now, is that harsh for me to say that? I mean, I guess, but it's reality, guys. The oldest civilizations are the biggest slobs. Why is that? Would somebody please explain that to me? Because it doesn't make any sense to me. It seems like they've been around a lot longer than most civilizations. They had a head start. They were reasonably technologically advanced compared to everyone around them, and yet, where are they now today? Why? They should be masters of the universe right now, landing on fucking Mars. You know? Why is that? Does that make me an asshole for pointing it out? Probably, but hey, that's why you guys tune in. I am kind of a dick, I admit it. But it is an honest question. Why people have been around for 5,000 years? Think about that. Just the breadth of time. Christ was around 2,000 years ago, ish. So take Galway going back to Christ, and then tack on 3,000 more years behind that. That's how far these cultures can trace their civilization. Fuck, even the Romans had figured out how to do indoor plumbing. The Romans have only been around since, fuck, don't get me the line, man. They showed up after the Bronze Age collapse. Just say 500 BC. If I had to spitball it without having to go look it up. So the Romans came and went. They had indoor plumbing. They figured shit out. They had bathhouses. But it's like, you haven't evolved beyond eating with your fucking hands, eating soft grains and cereals with your hands, and shitting in the streets. I'm just asking why. Why? And then you think you could take that culture, that mentality, and you think you can run the financial capital of the world better than an actual American citizen, and not some guy that was born in Africa, that's not even African, come over here as an American. He's only been American for like 6 years, and he thinks he can run the damn city better than any American that's run it since ever. And his culture can't figure out how to use a fuck. But he's going to tell you about rent control and tax policy and communal grocery stores. It's the truth. It's the truth. Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong. You're going to take a guy that can't figure out a fucking spoon and how to eat his rice with a spoon or any other cereal or grain with it, but he's going to tell you about how the minorities have been abused in New York City when he hasn't even been around for about 7 damn years. I mean, Cuomo is a shitbag, but he ran the state. At least he would know. He would have an idea on how to run a state. I mean, he killed people with COVID by shoving a bunch of pandemic infested people in with the old folks to kill them off to save taxpayer money. Because that's essentially what he did. But even he, at least, has been around long enough to figure out how New York City ticks. Mamdani was born in fucking Uganda. He's only been in America for 7 years. He hasn't been around that long, guys. What's up, Daycub? Yeah, I mean, it just baffles me. But you know what? The people in New York City disgust me anyway. So if this is the guy they want, I mean, after all, these are the same people that keep electing AOC. And she's as dumb as a bag of hammers. I'm sorry, not sorry. She's a fucking idiot. She's good at, I trust her to make me a margarita because at least she was, a bartender. But when it comes to like financial or employment policy, she ain't got a fucking clue. And what's even more egregious of that is she has supposedly a degree from Boston College in economics. And I'm like, how? How? It's these commie shitbags. Commie shitbags. They think they're bringing about some kind of utopia, and all they're going to bring about is abject misery, poverty. Poverty, lots and lots of poverty. Yeah, all the hammers. A collective bag of hammers is smarter than AOC and Mamdani. I mean, he's just AOC with a dick. Let's face it, guys. He's AOC with a dick. That's all he is. And he's a moron. He has a slick veneer in a way he talks, but the stupid comes out. The stupid shows up, and there's a lot of stupid people in New York City. There just are. I'm sorry, not sorry. There just are. There are some brilliant people in New York City, but with as many brilliant people as in New York City, there's an awful lot of stupid motherfuckers that live there. There just are. And they deserve Mamdani and what he's going to bring about. The destruction of that city. You don't think so? I think it's doing fine. I got a little turkey neck, but I'll trade that. I'll trade that for not needing my CPAP anymore. Oh, by the way, since you're asking about that LVC, I just got my blood work back. My doctor said I'm perfectly normal, and I told her, "Doctor, you're the first person to ever tell me that." True story. She laughed. I was being serious, but no, all of my blood work, my cholesterol, prostate, liver, everything, normal. Couldn't believe it. So, what I'm doing is working. Turkey neck and all, man. I'll take it. I'll take it. Thank you, Shelby. Yeah, double tap to leave a like. Smart ass. And he never said thank you, LVC. Remember I did that? You asked for that cinnamon roll review in a live feed, and like the next day I did a video doing that cinnamon review. I don't think you ever mentioned that, and I don't think you ever stopped by and say thank you for that. Willfully ignorant to honestly think that everyone can be equally wealthy while only some people are putting in. Yeah, that's the other dirty secret, right? We're not all equal. We aren't. We're not. We're all born into different circumstances. Now, what they're trying to say equal is equal in the eyes of the law, right? But they think it's equal in the eyes of culture and society, and that's just not the case, right? No matter how hard I try, unless I get like a gajillion of you guys in here throwing me super chats and becoming members, I'm never going to be a multi-bazillionaire, right? It is what it is. I'm not smart enough to make the next, I don't know, PayPal or whatever the fuck. I'm just not. That's not where my IQ goes. So, no, I mean we're not all equal. Well, thank you, LBC. I appreciate that, and I mean that because I did that for you. I didn't know if you knew that or not. Because you asked for it, and I'm a giver, so I figured, throw you a bone because I thought it was funny, and I hadn't had a sweet in a while, so I'm like, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, I thought I had some fun with it because Mandani just discussed, not only is he a filthy commie, but he's also a savage. And I just thought I'd put it on. He's never going to see this. I don't care. Is he going to see some small YouTuber truck driver dunking on his New York City ass? Because he was born in Uganda, but he was born to a rich family. So, yeah. Why is it always the rich commies, the champagne socialists out there trying to tell the rest of us how we need to live our lives? It's always the rich bastards that claim, oh, we need to have equality and equity. It's like, bitch, you didn't start that way either. Your parents, you were born in the money. You were born in the money. It's like, and you're going to tell me how I need to live my life? Fuck you. Yeah. That's what I gotta say about it. Yeah, it's a trip. Like we're claiming to know that the struggle. Oh, and Gavin Newsom claims that I've grown up in a poor neighborhood eating. Yeah, no shit. Go look at Gavin Newsom, by the way, is Nancy Pelosi's nephew. The Pelosi family runs California. How long has she been a representative there, and then became Speaker of the House? And how long has he been governor? Her family runs California. He did not grow up poor and eating mac and cheese. I can tell you that right now. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And apparently there's a meme going around right now that Trump has ended the console wars, right? Because he's always talking about ending wars. So he ended the console wars. So you had Master Chief in there shaking hands with Trump because, like, apparently Halo will be you will be able to play it out on the PlayStation now, which that's like having Mario from Nintendo playing on the Xbox, right? It's just like, it's like, what? Yeah. But apparently Gavin Newsom tried to get on that because it's funny and of course organic. It's like trying to make a joke funny, but you can't do it. It just But yeah, that's the new thing going on. That and the constant threats on YouTube right now about the EBT thing. And I know there's only a few of you watching tonight, and that's fine. But I mean, we all know it's not the Republicans stopping it. One, it's not Trump. Trump is the executive branch. This is the legislature, particularly the Senate, and that's where it's stonewalled. And the majority, and I mean that as the Republicans, have voted just about every day, because they hold a vote every day to reopen the government. And it's a few Democrats keeping the government closed. And that's just the reality of it. But the Democrats are digging their heels because they want Republicans to greenlight $1.5 trillion to take care of illegals on government programs, specifically healthcare and others. And it's like, and the Republicans are like, no, we were specifically put in the office to stop that shit. So now what the Democrats can do is reopen the government, and then they can continue the debate process, right? But now you got people on specifically TikTok threatening to go wholesale looting if they don't get their EBT. And I'm like, this shit's about to get crazy. Crazy. I mean, you got one girl in there talking about she's going to bring her cousin Pookie in with her to Walmart, and that he was going to knock you in the next time zone if you try to keep her from taking her cart of stolen groceries out the store because she's going to eat. Even though she looked about, I don't know, 300 pounds herself. I'm like, Uncle Sam is feeding you really well. Really damn well. I gotta see. That's working. But yeah, she's trying to get her cousin wrapped up in a felony so she can make it out the store with her Tony's frozen pizzas. We went and bought some groceries. A small basket rang up for $100. I had 1,000% off coupon. Guess what? Took $90 off. Who knew? Hey man, look, I had that discussion, Diver. I was just showing people how that Trump arrived at that number. It's not wrong. Is that the normal way people will calculate that? No. And I explained that during that live feed. But it is a legitimate way that he came up with a number, because it is 1,000% different between 100 and 10. And that's just math. It is what it is. The point was that you can manipulate statistical data to show it any way you want. You know, and it is what it is. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna have food riots, and it's gonna be because of the Democrats. The Democrats are putting the illegals ahead of the citizen. There are many people that have been waiting to get benefits because they are truly in need, right? But they put on the back burner because Biden let 20 million motherfuckers across the border in 4 years. So they snatched up all the Section 8 and all the other benefits because they can't get jobs. They shouldn't be here. But the people that have been on the waiting list to get those benefits because they truly need it were passed over. And the Republicans are saying, hold on, wait a minute, something ain't right here. We have a welfare state for Americans. They're the ones you should be benefiting first. These other people that just arrived yesterday should not be here. They need to go home. Not to be a dick about it, but I'm being a dick about it. They do not belong here. They did not go through the proper channels to arrive here in the country. Because your country's poor doesn't make you an asylee. I mean, it would suck, and I get that, and I don't blame you for wanting to be here, but we can't take the whole world in. And every country has rules for migration, and we choose those rules. There's a proper way of going about it. And that's why Biden should be serving time in Leavenworth right now. Right, LBC? Illegals benefits of American citizens. Dems are keeping the government. Exactly. Precisely. That's exactly what's happening. And they're trying to hem it up. Well, it's the Republicans' fault for not wanting to negotiate with the Democrats. I'm like, you got it fucked up. Americans come first. If we're going to spend taxpayer money on anybody, it's going to be on another American. And there were some recent videos. I mean, you can go find it, but there's major news networks have already broken down specifically the food stamps. You know how the Democrats are saying that it's illegal for illegals to have be on these services, right? Even though they're already here illegally, like physically, they're thinking they can't commit paperwork fraud to get benefits from the government. But they broke it down about how many millions of first of all, there's 41 million people in EBT, which is outrageous. Outrageous. We only have about 330 million people in this country. 41 million of them are on EBT. And then millions of that figure have recently been shown to be illegals obtaining benefits. That's just EBT. That's not including health care, Section 8, and the rest of it. It's outrageous. Americans have been waiting in line for these benefits, and they are truly in need. I mean, think about the poor bastards in North Carolina that were hit by that hurricane. Their entire town was wiped out from the flooding. And FEMA wanted to give them a pat on the head and $700 and send them on their way while they're living in a fucking tent in the mountain. And they can't get out because the roads are all wiped out. Carry on, citizen. And yet they're going to bend over backwards to find somebody that was living in a foreign country the day before. Free housing, free food, free cell phone, reduced electricity. I mean, the whole gambit. It's completely backwards to me. Yeah, well, that's the problem, right? And that's the workaround. That's the dirty secret, right? Like, oh, illegals can't get EBT. Oh no, no, you pop out an anchor baby. So you got one American citizen technically, even though that's going to change soon. And then they go apply for benefits for that one baby, but then the entire family is going to qualify as a family unit. So now they're all getting benefits because of one anchor kid. Yeah. I don't have such a hard heart that I don't want to help people. But I want to help my own. And my own are the American citizens. Sorry. They come first. They absolutely come first. They are from here. And their family have been here for generations. And people fall on hard times. You get sick. You can't work anymore. Whatever, right? Whatever the reason. You're a widower. Or, you got involved with a messy divorce. There was a lot of domestic violence going on. You ended up run out with you and the kids. But your job at the chicken fried place is not going to cover all the bills, so you need assistance, right, to get out of that bad situation. I get it, and I'm all for it. Millions for someone that should not be here, and then the Democrats are going to have the audacity to hold up paychecks to the military or deal with people rioting for what? For what? So these people can stick around long enough to be claimed on the census so they could be overrepresented in Congress again? Because that's what's happening. Yes. All of that. Well, Mackenzie, you don't have to be here. How about that? I didn't twist your arm to show up. There's only 6 of you in here right now. You're one of them. You don't have to be here, dear. I'm just saying. You probably should open your ears and listen to what I'm saying, because I'm not the only one. I hate to break your heart. People of my mindset are in the majority right now, and they're tired of it. They're not taking it anymore. That's why if you look at the polls, the GOP, it is the Democrats' fault that it's happening. The Republicans are showing up every single day to vote to reopen the government, and the Democrats keep voting no. And we only need 6. Everyone is in session. That is what the legislature is literally for. Is for the debate, and that's where it should be. But they should not be holding Shanae's EBT hostage so she can go on TikTok to threaten to loot all the stores in her area because she's going to get hungry. And you know what? If I were in that situation, I'd be panicking too, to be perfectly honest. If I was barely eking by and I was relying on that money, and if I have kids at the house and all of a sudden, oh shit, we didn't know it was going to be like this, so we didn't budget, and all of a sudden we're not going to have food. Yeah, I think I'd be a little upset too, to be perfectly honest. But again, the Republicans are showing up every single day to reopen the government. It's the Democrats keeping that from happening. You need to remember that. Why? Do I look like I'm ODing on fentanyl or something? Billions on prisons for illegal game. Yeah, I know. We're already billions over budget, but no one has figured out how to get over the grapevine. Oh, that's a California thing, yeah. China going from the east and west coast, meeting in the center in the middle of hostile Indian territory that has not been pacified yet. How can they lay track in the 19th century, living in man camps and utilizing shovels, hammers, and pitchforks? How could that have been completed before Gavin can get a rail from Northern California down to LA, or even Bakersfield with modern technology? How does that happen? And somehow, not doing any work, they have still spent billions of dollars. On what? What the hell did you spend the money on? You didn't do any of the work. Where the hell did the money go? If I was in California, I'd be outraged. I mean, it would be torches and pitchforks. And Slickback is sitting over there thinking he's going to run for president. It's crazy. It's nuts. The train to nowhere. Like a Chinese, like, yeah, I get that, but you would think that the money would, but they didn't do any work, so where the hell is the money? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, we're talking about tens of billions of dollars, and they haven't done a damn thing. It's like, how? How? Yeah, obviously theft. So it may take Trump to go in there with the IRS, a federal agency, and like, okay, we're just going to audit California now because we know there's going to be a certain amount of grift, but this is so egregious that now we have to step in to unfuck your situation because you're about to be chased out of town, cartel style, if you catch my drift, because the citizens are not too happy with you stealing their money. Well, I mean, be that as it may, you need to figure out where the money went. Like, legit, because that's crazy. When EBT is shut off, this is a fantastic for the 10 to 20 million lazy. They burned down Malibu Beach. I know about the laser theory, right? Just anything blue survived. Now China's buying the land. You realize in Texas they banned in the state law that foreign adversaries can no longer own property in Texas because the Chinese were coming in trying to do the same thing they were doing in California. And Abbott's like, not happening, not here in Texas. Get fucked. Faux shizzle! What's happening? Hey man, I mean, it is what it is. And again, I can't blame the people for being upset, but the Republicans have consistently voted to keep the government going. It's the Democrats. Remember that. If you are an EBT and somehow you see this middle-aged white guy talking shit from the back of his truck, you need to remember that you only need six Democrats to vote yes now, because Fetterman is already committed to saying yes. You need 6 Democratic senators to say yes, so you can get food. The Republicans are voting to keep the government open. They always have been. This go around anyway. They're trying to force Trump to capitulate, but realize that you are going to go hungry because the Democrats prefer the illegal over you, the citizen. You need to realize that because that is exactly what they are doing. Two sides of the same coin. All nations probably work against people, in my opinion. Well, I mean, that was certainly true back in the 90s. I mean, policy-wise, there was no difference. And I know it's early 2000s. But policy-wise, there's no difference between Al Gore or Bush or Hillary. They're all neocon and liberal. There was very little. Literally the only difference is the R or the D next to your name. That's where the uniparty thing. That's why it was a big joke back then. It didn't matter who was running, right? Because the uniparty was in power. Nowadays, the differences haven't been this stark probably since the 1860s. Get stolen beer in the grocery store bathroom today. Nice. Well, to be honest, the jobs are drying up. I mean, it is what like I said, and Amazon's about to lay off 30,000 people. And evidently, they're like the second or third largest employer in the United States. So that's kind of scary. And they're talking about slashing at 500,000 jobs at some point because of the robots and the AI. So we are getting into scary times, folks. And that's just Amazon. All the other companies are going to be following suit because they all have the same technology. So there's going to be an awful lot of hungry, unemployed people. That's some scary shit. You're going to have all these pissed off people that had jobs with nothing to do with their time all day except think about how to overthrow a government, because that's how revolutions start, especially with unemployed men. When, historically speaking, when you have a high percentage of unemployed men just milling about, you're going to get a revolution. And generally speaking, the system that replaces or supplants the current system usually is shittier than the one they had. But they're in such a desperate state of I don't give a fuck, because society doesn't give a fuck about them anymore, that they'll just rather watch it burn. They'll just let the whole thing burn to the ground. And it's like, well, it's like, well, my future was already done, so why should your future be secure? So we'll just burn society to the ground, and the devil may care. We'll just roll the dice and see where it takes us. That's right. I appreciate your acceptance. Is it acceptance, or I'm just kind of ignoring it? I mean, either you're doing it to troll, or it's how you actually feel. Whatever. There you go. Hitler came about because of the Weimar Republic. Remember, Hitler was actually elected. He was lawfully elected as Chancellor of Germany. He didn't seize power. He was placed in power through their laws. Now, he took control after he went into office. I mean, don't get me wrong, but in order to get in there, he went through the process, and the German people voted for him. But the Weimar Republic is really bad too, guys. I mean, it was really, really bad. Or should I say evolved order? Yeah. Well, there's a lot of truth to that, unfortunately. Yeah, it's this AI shit, man. It's gonna be scary, scary stuff. I mean, when Andrew Yang came out a couple of election cycles ago talking about the UBI, or Universal Basic Income, people were scoffing at him like, yeah, this bullshit. Now, it may be inevitable, because you can't have millions upon millions of people out of work and starving in the streets and not expect to be a massive backlash on government and corporations in general. But the problem with the UBI is that if everyone is given something that is free, then that thing has no more value than picking up a rock on the side of the road. Well, everyone has a rock now. Does it have any value? I don't know if there's an easy answer in all of this, but it can get dystopian really damn fast. Yeah. Yeah, Trump 2028. Well, Bannon thinks so. That's funny. Want the army to use steamboats. Why does Trump want the army to use steamboats? Steamboats? Okay, I didn't hear about the steamboats. Anybody have any info on the steamboat situation? That's the first I'm hearing about it. Unless you're talking about Ricky the Steamboat Dragon, and he was a pretty good wrestler in the '80s. But I don't know about steamboats. Well, is he going to take a steamboat and march it down Michigan Avenue in Chicago? That'd be a little weird. Well, you brought it up. I mean, you could just tell me. Yeah, it's going to be bad. He said the Army that they should bring back steamboats and hydraulic catapults, and he's being serious. You sure about that? He's also the same guy that made a meme of him flying around in a Top Gun jet fighter, dropping copious amounts of liquid shit on Sisson and other people out there doing the No Kings rally. So, is he really being serious? Really? Yeah, exactly. Obviously, yeah, yeah. The Boers, they got a lot of diamonds locked up, so they don't hit the market all at once to crater the price of the diamond. Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. I don't know. Uh, that's what happens when you talk a lot and you're almost 80. Sometimes you trip over your words, like Kofifi when he was trying to spell out coverage, and he said Kofifi in a text. That happens. I didn't vote for Trump because he's glib. I vote for him because he's trying to help me and you as working class people, and that's the God's honest truth. And both sides have paid lip service, but he's the only one that actually has put the rubber to the road and actually attempted to do something good for us. Yeah, yeah. I know. But as I was saying, but I mean, if everyone has something, just imagine everyone gets the same UBI. A universal means we're all getting the same thing, right? So if we're all getting the same amount, that means it has no value because that is the new floor, right? That's the new floor. Everything's to be based around what you're making on UBI, and if everyone's making the same, well, it might as well be zero. I mean, it's crazy. Trump only helps Trump. Trump hates maggots, only slightly less than he hates Democrats. I don't know. I know he's trying to help me. So, I mean, that's good enough for me. So that value, it would just cause a little more inflation. Not saying it's a good idea. Well, yeah. I mean, it's like when they were fighting for 15 in California, they got right? And it was a temporary bump in value until $15 became the new $7.50, whatever the federal minimum wage is. So it's, yeah, your wage went up, but the value went down because of inflation. So it has the same your $15 now has caught up to what $7.50 was a few years ago, and that made the entire process pointless. And then now I think some of them were talking about fight for 50, for God's sakes. They went from 15 to 50. At least some Bay Area politicians are like, you got to be shitting me. $50 an hour to work at McDonald's? You talk about a rush to automation? Are you stupid? They are. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like a lot of those union jobs have their pay rates tethered to the minimum wage. So if they're making a certain amount above minimum wage, and all of a sudden the minimum wage is making as much or more than them, then their union contract dictates they got to get paid a certain amount more than that, and that's just going to drive everything back down again. It's stupid. It's stupid. You might as well just have a trillion dollars Zimbabwean dollar or whatever the hell they call it. I don't know. How is he helping? You want a ballroom, Argentina beef, higher prices? Well, I mean, specifically for me as a trucker, he's reinforcing the English language proficiency, and he's rifting out a lot of the guys that got CDLs that aren't supposed to have CDLs, but they've been illegally handed out by like New York State or California. And by the way, these were always requirements, but Obama relaxed them. Illegally, mind you. Having a CDL is a safety sensitive function, just like a train engineer or an airline pilot. And you have to know English. Period. It's a requirement. And now he's actually going through and doing something about it, which is helping me as a truck driver. So yes, he is directly helping me, and it will eventually raise my wages. But It's also going to help the push for autonomous trucks too. So it's kind of a double-edged. Fortunately for me, I'm in a part of the transportation industry that vehicles can't do yet, which is hazmat. So yes, it will benefit me directly. Is this the racist trucker? I don't know. Am I being racist? You would starve without Trump's constant stream of bullshit. Good luck with the cognitive. No, that's not true. How does it help you now? I just told you. Well, you certainly have your opinion. You don't have any proof. Show me the proof, and I'll agree with you. But you don't. You're bullshitting. Goes down over $2 during the Trump. That's pretty. Yeah, it does. No, I didn't say that. He asked how he was helping me personally. I was giving you an example how he was doing that. The tariffs are going to help nationwide, right? The rates that we've been paying for labor has been artificially low for decades. And yes, prices will go up because the proper amount of money will be paid for labor again. It was never supposed to be this low. And for working class people, that means you're going to have a living wage again. Oh, and by the way, when you start getting rid of the damn people that aren't supposed to be here, that's going to free up a lot of low-income housing, which is also referred to as our starter homes, that our current youths can't take advantage of, and they're stuck at mom and dad's house because the only houses available on the market right now are like $300,000 to $500,000, and that's supposed to be a starter home now. Meanwhile, wages haven't kept up with that, and that's collapsing our birth rate because they can't go out and start families. So it's had a deleterious effect on our economy and our society all the way down, just so some assholes can make a quick buck. That's starting to shift away, and we will eventually go back to a state of normalcy where it used to be, but it's going to take time. And Biden did an awful lot of damage. Obama did too, for that matter. But I mean, Biden was just the most recent and egregious person caught with his hand in the cookie jar, basically. I mean, he fucked our economy. Yeah, nobody wants to work, driving at price. Those farmers and ranchers utilizing illegal labor, Americans will work those jobs, just not for those wages. And we do have guest worker programs. We always have. But they're supposed to leave after harvest over, take their money, and go the fuck back home. But they don't. And that's a problem. That's a big fucking problem. Guys, it's going to get solved. It's going to be ugly, but it's going to get solved, one way or the other. Now, he's currently dying of prostate cancer, and he's older than Trump, so you tell me. He was already in cognitive decline, so no. Biden would be lucky to last another 3 years. It's been touching me inappropriately, and I am like... That's a whole other situation I don't want to think about. I just imagine Best got a beer in his hand, walking down the steps into his basement because he wants to do a live feed. And there's Randall sitting in his fucking BVDs in that recliner couch he's got down there watching God knows what on that TV that's mounted on the wall. He's just, I know you're all thinking about that right now too. Got his fucking purple feet fucking kicked up in the air watching TV with a remote. And here's Best. He's looking like, God damn. He just needs some alone time in his man cave and he can't do it. Oh, it just strikes me as funny. Maggots? I know you guys like to say that about MAGA supporters, but maybe. Maybe not. Hopefully the Democrats get their heads out of their ass and will reopen the government. And then they can make a better argument without pitching a hissy fit. Because I can tell you, they're not getting their way. They're not getting their way. And the longer this goes on, the more people are going to get pissed at the Democrats. And we're just another year away from the midterms. And God help their souls if this goes on to past Thanksgiving. Because, well, there's going to be food riots well before then, let's face it. I think somebody's better. I think somebody doesn't like Trump very much. He's going to come on here and yell at me about it. Me. Hey, yeah. You know what? This is what I voted for. So you can be angry at me all you want. But I'm getting what I want. This is like early Christmas for me. Because shit's getting done finally. Shit's finally getting done. We're finally taking out Antifa. The fucking domestic terrorists that they have always been. We're going after seditious politicians. Especially in California and Oregon and Washington State. And pretty soon Chicago. Or Illinois in general. We're going after the commie shitbags. Your sanctuary cities or states is sedition. They are an open rebellion from the federal government. And when these guys get handcuffed and thrown in the slammer, that's what I voted for. 100%. When they start locking up Antifa, when they finally handcuff George Soros for being the communist shitbag that he is, I'm there for it. It should have happened a long time ago. You do not have to use our own system against us. You want to bring about some manifest. Like ever. So when these people start getting locked up for the shitbags that they are, I'm going to have a smile on my face. Yeah. That is a bad mark on Trump's part. And I've said it before. He's done everything that I possibly could have wanted a president to do, except that. I can only assume it's because some of the obviously it's because some of the names on there. The Dems think that Trump's name's on there as a kid diddler. And I keep having to point this out, that if that were actually the case, Biden or his administration would have already utilized that evidence against Trump. You realize that, right? They had the audacity to raid a former president's home with the FBI over archival policies not being adhered to, even though it's tradition for presidents to take documents pertaining to their administration with them. And if they were willing to do that, they were willing to sue him for $80 grillion in a civil suit that was bullshit, or to try to lay about 37 and a half or 73 felonies on the guy. If you thought there was evidence of him actually kid fucking, they would have. Because Trump being elected again and getting into power and doing what he's doing is their worst case scenario. And if you don't think they didn't have evidence proving that he was fucking little kids, they wouldn't have brought charges, you're out of your goddamn mind. Pardon my French. It's not there. There are other names on there that would be an international catastrophe, and that's why it's not coming out. That's why it's not coming out. Does that make it any better? Not necessarily, because I want to see the kid fuckers hang. But when you have former presidents like possibly like, I don't know, Clinton or Israeli prime ministers and Ehud Barak, it's a problem. It's a problem. Yeah. Shit. Wrong button. People keep saying, if he did it, he should hang. How about that? But you have no evidence. You have no evidence. And the prior administration had every reason to use that information against Trump if he actually did it. It's not there, man. You're trying to manifest evidence out of thin air. So, now, with that being said, is Trump a philanderer? Yeah. Yeah, he was boning ex-porn stars. You know, but are you a marriage counselor now? I don't care if he's boning porn stars. I don't give a shit. I want him to lower my taxes, and he has. I want him to increase American jobs, and he's doing that. You know, I could care less. I mean, if you guys are okay with JFK in his Camelot days, having the Devil's Triangle with his fucking brother Bobby and John are boning Marilyn Monroe at the same time while she's married to Dick Maggio, the baseball guy. If Bobby's taking her from the front and JFK's taking her from the back, and then she's going to go blab about the media and they had her off, but you're okay with that because you like JFK, but you're worried about Trump boning a porn star. And he didn't have her killed, he just had her, you know, he paid her off and had her sign an NDA, which is not illegal, by the way. Like, if you guys could be okay with that, I could be okay with that, you know what I mean? And some mudslinging debate would be classic because most part they would be saying the same thing about each other. Yeah, exactly. Well, if you have evidence for that, I think the world would be interested. Pretty sure you don't, though, do you? Not really. Like, at all. You just want it to be true. You're trying to wish it. You're trying to wish upon your star like you're Peter Pan. It's just not the case, guys. You know? Trump is a bombastic asshole, but he's not a kid fucker. He's just not. He fucks porn stars, adult porn stars. He's not fucking little kids. He's the one that turned Epstein in when he did time originally. Go look that up. Once he found out all these shenanigans going on, he's like, oh, I ain't hanging out with that guy. As a matter of fact, I'm snitching to the FBI, and they picked him up. And that came out recently. No, it was Trump narking on Epstein that got him originally arrested. You know, I have to believe it. Go look it up. Who are today's bourgeoisie? Tech companies, I guess. The tech overlords are replacing all our jobs with AI. Some of the crypto bros, probably. Especially if you bought Bitcoin early. At least here in the United States. Let's see if I missed any comments. Okay, so I don't agree with you. See, you don't know what you're talking about. You have no evidence. Like none. Only fan influencers. Yes, they're the bourgeoisie. Yeah. What a number that has done on our dating scene for our youth, man. Oh my God. Have you guys kept up with that? What's happening with social media and how it's impacted the dating and the marriage rates plummeting? It's crazy. Crazy bad. It turns out a lot of these women would rather be in a harem with one alpha giga chad dude that makes a lot of money. They'd rather share him than settle for somebody that's actually on their level. It's crazy. And he has done that to the dating scene. It's outrageous. And seems like it might be fun. And I'm sure if you're on the upper echelon of the men that can support multiple wives like that, but the problem is that leaves an awful lot of young men without potential of having a mate. And being married and starting a family has a calming effect on a lot of guys. It gets them to settle the fuck down and concentrate their energies on something productive besides milling about, forming gangs, and getting into trouble. Anyway, that's a different life feed we could talk about, because I don't always like doing just politics, but I do enjoy the politics. Yeah. I know, Daycam. I know. I remember it was a big deal when Pizza Hut was like, oh, you can use this newfangled Bitcoin to buy these pizzas. Can you imagine? It'll only cost you 3 or 4 Bitcoin to buy this fucking pepperoni and mushroom pizza. Boy, did they come out ahead on that deal if they didn't sell. Holy crap. Yeah, it's crazy, man. And there's plenty of podcasts out there that do it. I mean, like the Whatever podcast, I know is one. It's just, you just see a lot of these ladies on display, and it's like some of the expectations on what they're looking in a potential mate, and it's like, holy shit. Holy shit. I mean, some of them are like, what's the minimum you think your guy should earn? Oh, I don't know. 200,000? How tall should he be? Well, it used to be 6 foot. Now they're looking for like 6'2", 6'3", right? It's like, what the fuck? It's crazy, guys. It's absolutely bonkers. All right, hold on just a sec. Yeah, but if y'all want to talk about that, I can put something together. We can talk about it. But tonight, I just wanted to be an asshole and show how the third world eats their grains and cereals with their fucking hands. It's disgusting. If you didn't see that from the beginning, you should go back and rewatch it, because I thought it was grossing me out. It was, but again, that's the kind of guy they're going to be electing as mayor in New York City, man. It's a trip. It's a damn trip. Anyway, that's what I had to say tonight. I just wanted to be an asshole and eat with my fingers and show you how gross it is. And you shouldn't elect politicians that can't figure out a spoon when they're eating something like mushy, like rice. Right? But they're going to use a fork and a knife to eat a fucking burrito. Yep. You don't see the only fan of dating apps are the logical end game of capitalism, though. Everything becomes a commodity, even sex and love. You're making a socialist argument. No. No, I'm not. How do you figure? Did I say anything about prostitution? I specifically was pointing out some of the characteristics that they want in a potential mate, completely skewed by social media, because that's what the data is showing. It also has a lot to do with that the women are now the majority of the students in universities, right? And they're finding out through sociology that the women don't like to date down or even parallel, right? They only want to date upwards, right? Well, if they're the majority in schools, they're getting a lot of the, specifically the easier, higher paying jobs. That's not leaving the guys hardly anything. Now, the few guys that are going to school compared to women are getting the higher paying jobs. So yeah, they're living their best life. But if you're blue collar without a college degree, a lot of these women think that you're a fucking idiot, even though you're making more money than them. So, I mean, that's a barrier to having a mate right now. It's just because you didn't get a gender studies degree and go to $150,000 in debt. All right? You decided you want to be a pipe fitter at a good union job, making $40 an hour. Well, whatever. I'll leave that for another discussion, but it's not capitalism. That's just unreal expectations about what people are looking for. Anyway, you guys have a good night. We'll do it again soon. Take care. TC out.